Now I need to fit you to the screen. Or maybe I just cover the whole screen with just you. And there's gonna be voice of Ender on it.
An actual, just the voice of Yamato. The face of Ender, the voice of Yamato.
Boom. Alright, let me make this look a little bit better. Frosk and the Muppets. That's a cool sign. Who are the Muppets? Are you a Muppet?
I think her chat is the Muppets.
Oh shit, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes I call my girlfriend a Muppet. But it's endearing, not insulting. I'm not
Right.
I'm not I'm not mean. Alright. I think we've nailed it. I don't hear any robot voices. I think that everything's in the clear. So I'm gonna ask again, Ender. How are you doing?
I'm doing. Oh, that's the top of my head. Oh, here I am. Oh, I'm working on Dylan. I'm like, wait a second, what's going on here? I'm doing good. I went out and got a little espresso this morning.
Oh, espresso man.
So, yeah, and a little almond croissant. Ooh,
almond croissant.
That's the good stuff.
From which place? Which place?
It's I actually don't know the name of it. Just a local coffee place.
Honestly, that makes it better.
Yeah.
When it has like a like a cool name, then you know it's real
like
shit.
some like 2-syllable thing. I don't know.
You know, I also drink espresso, and my girlfriend always tells me she her thing, like her social media waste of time happens on Facebook. Mine is on Reddit. Everyone has their own thing. Some people do Instagram, whatever. They scroll, and it's like eating a big juicy burger for your brain. It's just bad for you. And on Facebook sometimes you have these like some scientific quotes or whatever, and they say people that like drinking espressos is a sign of psychopathic behaviors. Agree or disagree?
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and say disagree on that one.
Same.
My personal opinion. No, I wasn't always an espresso drinker.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just loved like lattes and stuff. But I went to, after the last time I was in Berlin for LEC, so like sometime in the summer, okay. I went on a little trip to Italy.
Oh shit.
And that's when I was introduced to the espresso cornetto meta. And that was crazy. So I've stuck with it since then.
Wait, what does cornetto mean? Because that to me is ice
cornetto
cream.
means croissant.
Oh shit, okay.
Italian. Yeah.
That's strange. I think of it as the ice cream, you know, the cone, cornetto.
Oh, okay.
Okay. The worlds are colliding here, man. All the information I have in my head is just colliding. Yeah, I drink espresso too. It's like in my mind, first it was very functional to drink coffee, so I just wanted the purest form of it. And I didn't care that it tasted like shit because I could just drink it quick. And now it's an acquired taste for sure. Yeah. Italy.
Yeah, if you get good espresso, then you're chilling. Also, it's just like it doesn't have, because if you drink a lot of lattes, I think that's kind of like useless calories as well.
Yes.
So like, yeah, whenever I'm like, I should be more mindful, I go back to the espresso.
Do you feel like you are becoming, like, there's a difference between becoming an adult and then like having your body kind of catch up to you? Have you like began to see signs of that as you're getting older?
I don't know so much. Like, I think I'm definitely not as flexible as I used to be. I did like a lot of sports and stuff in high school, and I was like very flexible.
Yeah.
So like, I definitely feel that where I'm like, maybe I should just like stretch a lot more. But I haven't really had anything like injury wise, or like my wrists still seem like fine. I never really used to stretch them. Now I kind of do, because I don't know. I don't feel it, but I'm like, this is probably something I should be doing. But I think I'm still young and live. I'm fine.
Okay. Because now it's like, now I'm 27. I'm approaching 28, and now I'm beginning like, I can't eat that because I'm gonna get inflammation. Then I catch myself.
Ooh.
In the past, I was like, I don't give a shit, you know. But now it's like, yeah, I get pain in my joints if I drink too much or things like this, you know. So this is how I feel. Like my age is catching up to me. I'm learning like these details about my body. Like in the past, you go to LAN parties, eat garbage the whole day, go to sleep at 8 a.m. and then wake up and be fine and just do the next thing. It's like if I do that now, I have to cancel the whole week. Like I need to recover completely, you know. So that's like the signs that I've noticed. But you don't see, if you're not in there yet, that's good. I'm very happy.
Yeah, I'm all right for now. I definitely, if I do like drinking a couple nights in a row, I'll be like, okay, this is bad. But I don't really do that too much unless I'm like if I'm traveling somewhere, then I'm probably like
that's
having like multiple nights out in a row. But here, like when I'm in LA, I'm just like, I don't really go out that much, to be honest.
Okay. How come? Is it expensive, or what's the nightlife like in California?
It's just like it's really annoying because it takes a long time to get everywhere.
Oh shit!
Yeah. And also, like, a bunch of my friends are like kind of like they're either like right next to me or they're really far away.
Okay.
So it's like either I'm making a larger trip, in which case I'm probably just like hanging out at their house, or I'm walking 5 minutes to go see someone, and then we're probably just chilling there because we don't want to drive anyways. So it's a lot more just like hanging out at people's places as opposed to like going out and doing stuff.
Okay.
Also, bar culture just kind of sucks here.
Okay.
It's like dive bars that just aren't fun compared to like Berlin, where like bars were cool, clubs were cool.
Yeah. It's definitely a vibe in Berlin. What's a dive bar? I've never heard of the term dive bar.
Dive bar is just like a really like dark, like not a lot of lights bar. Everyone there looks depressed.
I love those.
Yeah. Maybe there's like a pool. Like, they're fine with like a group of people. I don't know. I just like, I never like go out on my own either. So unless there's like a group of people doing things, I'm just not going to really do anything.
Oh, that makes sense. But Italy, what took you to Italy? Because I really want to go to Italy. Ever since Jizuke always shit talked whatever fucking food we ate for 2 years straight of working with him, I've always wanted to go to Italy, but something always prevented me. It's like I feel like the whole coronavirus was orchestrated so I couldn't go to Italy. Obviously, I'm just joking, but Italy. Tell me about Italy.
I mean, I loved Italy. I went there for I think 6 days, I want to say.
You want to say? Was it that wild?
Yeah, I
want to remember.
No, because I mean, I just went on my own. So like, one thing I do like doing on my own, I do a bunch of solo trips on my own.
Okay.
So for me, it was just like, it was one of those countries that I hadn't been to yet because I'd been to Spain, I'd been to Denmark, I'd been to like France, Germany, obviously, the UK. So I'd done a lot of like the big ones, and like Italy was like, I kind of like this is a place I should probably go. So I flew into Rome and then immediately took a train to a smaller like city almost called Orvieto, which if you ever go to Italy, I would hugely recommend the city. It's basically an old like now I don't even think it's like worthy of being called a city because it's very tiny. But it's like a little like it's a village on top of a hill with like huge walls around it, big valley with a bunch of vineyards around. And it's basically like, I don't know, it still feels like very like Renaissance era, I think, in terms of a lot of like the architecture and whatnot. And there's like tunnels inside of the hill that like early people used to live in that have been like lived in throughout the years. It's crazy.
Damn.
So yeah, big recommend.
Wait. So first, you didn't strike me as the guy that would just go travel on your own. But then when I think about it more and more, it's like in the end, you moved all the way to Europe on your own. You took a risk. You bold in your decision there. In terms of so you mentioned all of these places. You traveled alone to all of these places. How do you plan it out? Like what's your mission? Do you just land and then it's like you play it like a battle royale? You just pick up whatever you see and then you just go, or how do you set it up?
That's literally exactly how I do it. So I'm really bad at planning. Like just anything in my life. Like I am a big procrastinator. If you tell me a week before, like, do you want to go out on like next Friday? I'll be like, yeah, maybe, I don't know. If you tell me 30 minutes before, then I'll be like, yes, absolutely. But for traveling, literally, I like going places for like multiple days because I don't have like a itinerary or a plan of like exactly what I have to do. For example, the first time I went to Paris, I was there for 4 days. On day one, I got a place like an Airbnb right in the middle of Paris. On day one, I walked north. Day two, west. day 3 south, day 4 east, and just hit everything in that, like pulled up Google Maps as I'm walking. I'm like, oh, that's over there. Oh yeah, cool. Let's go to the catacombs. Oh yeah, let's go to the Eiffel Tower. Like, let's just do that.
Shit.
So yeah, when I went to Italy, it was kind of similar, where it was like I knew I wanted to go to Rome, and then a cousin of mine that used to live in Turkey for a long time had been to Italy and recommended Orvieto. So I was like, cool, I'll go there. So I went there for a few days, and then I was in Rome for like a day and a half. And literally I just went to like the Roman Forum and just walked for 8 hours around that. That's just what I like though. Cause I don't really, the things I love to see is I love to see like really cool architecture and then eat good food. So like sometimes I'll look up like maybe there's a restaurant I really want to go to, but most of the time it's like find sort of like hole in the wall places that people don't really know about, walk around, enjoy the city. That's the vibes.
I see. Has there ever been a situation where you like regret not planning something? It's like, oh, I missed this, fuck, and now I'm flying home. What is the biggest regret?
Usually there's like one thing that I like just didn't budget time for and I'll miss. So like the first time I went to Paris, it was the catacombs, because I didn't realize like how long the line was. It was like a 2.5 hour wait. Because like the time I was trying to go in there. So I was like, okay, I'll skip that. And then the next time I went to Paris, I got to do that. When I went to the UK, I got to do everything that I wanted. And then in Italy, the only thing I didn't get to do was Vatican City. But I was like, yeah, I'm okay.
Don't need to look at all this stolen art.
Yeah. It was not that big of a bummer for me. I was kind of fine with it.
Okay. And on the flip side, what is the craziest thing you've accidentally like stumbled upon?
Oh, what is? That's a good question. I want to say I was in York for Frost's wedding actually, and I was just sort of, oh yeah, okay, I know exactly what it is. So it's like York is this like very old city in England. Like it was like the farthest north the Romans got in England basically, and that's like the foundation of the city. So like there's this ancient wall that's basically like been almost entirely toppled that the Romans built.
Now New York has a whole new meaning now. That there's an
exactly.
old York. There's a New York. All right. Okay.
And I think New York even had a different name. It had a Dutch name, I want to say. And then when England bought it, it actually got changed to New York. I don't know.
Bought it. Holy
history.
Shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Back to the main story.
Yeah. So it was. I'm in York, walking around. So it's this really old city, and then I find there's this restaurant that is in this old building. Then you go underground, and it's down there, and they do like Cajun food. So it's entirely themed like 1920s style. And they do like Southern comfort food almost, from like the US.
Okay.
And it's super. So I went down there and like had like a lunch, had a really nice drink. And then I found out later that night they were having a jazz group playing.
Oh shit. Dinner.
So I went again, like all by myself, like at like 9 o'clock, it's like super packed down here. And it's this like jazz trio that's playing like 20 styles jazz. So it's like, it's a keyboard, it's a drummer, and then it's a trumpet player that is also singing.
What?
So
okay.
Yeah. So it was just one of the coolest experiences ever that I was not expecting at all, and the food was great too. So.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow. No, those trumpet / singers. I've always wanted to see one of those. There's like this YouTube channel that I found called like George Collier or something, where he just posts like crazy videos from like ages ago, where it's like, look at this man, this is my one brain cell during the exam, and then he just completely goes ballistic on the trumpet, and then sings at the same time, and this is brilliant. I love live jazz, The first thing that came to my mind.
I love jazz in general.
when you mentioned dive bar, there's this place in Berlin called the Hat Bar. And it's completely dark, but there's always like these students from universities, like at the music universities, that are completely blasted and high out of their mind, but they're like playing jazz on stage, and whoever wants to with an instrument can just go up and play. It's just a little bar, and it's always the craziest music. There was like this one occasion. Have you been there?
So the Hat Bar? No, but like next time in Berlin, you gotta take me.
I'm taking you 100%. This is the only place I found. I also found it in a very random way. It was just a dark. We just wanted to sit down somewhere, and then you have like these jazz musicians just making music. I remember one time there was a guy who sat completely alone in the corner drinking. Then all of a sudden he just started feeling the music, and he just started like doing the Scatman thing, you know. Yes. He just grabbed the microphone, and it seemed like he was having his Gaga moment, you know. He was just going completely ballistic. I was so happy to witness that in person. But no trumpets ever, man.
Ever?
No trumpets.
That's sad. I played trumpet in high school.
Oh, so damn! Then you have to bring the trumpet.
Enjoyer. I'm not very good. That was a long time ago for me. Even back then, I wasn't that good. But,
you did the circular breathing thing, and
I did learn that.
Okay.
I mean, I just didn't really practice a lot. So actually, I was really big into band, marching band especially. So I was a very good marcher, and then I ended up being a conductor. So they're called drum majors, but like the people that wave their arms in the front. So I was literally controlling the tempo and everything.
Oh, damn.
Some pretty insane shows. I'll link them to you at some point.
Oh, really? Yeah, please do. Yeah. So everyone had to play to your tempo.
Yes.
Did you ever say the famous line? Not quite that? My tempo.
Oh no, I didn't do that.
Never. You didn't throw instruments at people. That's just over dramatization of Hollywood, as always. Yes.
No, I was very nice.
That's good.
I would never bully my my band.
The last time I saw you in action was during the Valorant tournament where G2 won. It was a pretty sick tournament.
The Game Changers tournament. It was actually my favorite tournament I've ever cast in League or Valorant. It was like super cool because I don't know, it had been a really long time. Actually, I don't think I'd ever been to a tournament where I was like staying in the same hotel as the players. Because like Worlds 2019, we did it was like Europe. So I was just like living in my apartment, and then all the other worlds were COVID that I did. Same with like the one MSI I did in 2021. So it was just a really cool vibe to be able to like talk to the teams, like
nice,
like when everyone went back to the hotel and like learn about the game, and they were all so good in terms of content and stuff as well. I don't know. And then also like, I don't know if you've ever gotten this because you've done like some international stuff, but like my experience in League doing events it was always like everyone was kind of closed off, whether it was like, you know, you're fighting with people for different like talent assignments, or there's like some interregional rivalry sometimes. Like it wasn't always like, everyone loves each other.
Politics.
Yeah, there's politics and everything, right? And this event, because there were a few people that had gotten to do a lot of like Valorant International stuff before, but there were also a lot of people, like for me, that was my first Valorant International event I've done. And there were a couple other people, even like analysts who were like normally players that had just gotten brought in. This was their first event ever. So everyone was just honestly happy to be there. And it was like one of the best, like behind the camera vibes that I've ever had on a show.
Oh, that's very nice. Very nice.
Yeah. That's it reminded me of like my like time, like on LEC. Where everyone just kind of like, especially like early days, like right when I was joining, everyone just loved each other. Yeah.
No, LSE has done a good job of that when you think of that, like the core crew, and then there's some outside factors every now and then, but you know, it's that reminds you that in the end it's a business, and I can understand both sides of it, but we don't need to go into those details.
We can keep talking about jazz if you want.
In terms of since you've now had the experience of working with Valorant, I remember already when Valorant came out, you're like, I'm gonna cast Valorant. You were so sure, and you loved playing the game. You're always spamming the game. You played it on shit ping, you played it on good ping. You didn't care. Whoever was close to you, I remember you were playing with your brother on shit ping. I remember we also played with him once when he played on shit ping. In terms of Valorant versus, like in the context of Valorant, I'm trying to paint the image of what the competitive landscape is for my own mind, because I don't have a lot of experience with Valorant. Are there things in terms of game design in Valorant that are the go-to, what the fuck is this, why is this in the game, Like for example, in League, like the equivalent would be like Yuumi or certain champions being broken. Is it equivalent to that equivalency in that for Valorant as well?
I don't think there's anything. There aren't any agents that I think are as like frustrating as like a Yuumi or whatnot. But I also think like that may change in the future. It's still like early days. If you're talking about like characters that have been like overpowered for a long time, I think Chamber would probably be the best example. And he just got hit with like a very meaningful nerf. So I would say like my main complaint with Valorant balance so far hasn't really been specific agents as much as it's been they do patches every 2 weeks, but it's very rare that they do like big agent changes. So the meta for the last year has felt like fairly stale. And it's only now that like Chamber has gotten nerfed, and I think that's really going to shake things up going into next year. But they also did like they just did like a really big like utility like ability pass for like most characters. So it's like the way they balance is more like, oh, every like maybe 6 months you'll get like a big patch that changes everything, and then it's like small tweaks here and there. But I don't think there's really like an agent or anything that's like, delete this Yuumi tier of
that's
of
good.
nonsense.
Maybe it'll come in the future. Is there any like like utility creep or like power creep in terms of because the agents have like roles in theory, right?
Yes.
You need to have smokers, whatever. You need to have tools in order to defend and take over sites. Is there an element of power creep with the new agents coming, or is that for the future?
So yes and no. So the easiest example I think of like power creep or like more abilities are killing now is basically there's like there was a big shift that happened in terms of like agents getting picked over from like the end of last year to now this like right now. Where basically if you looked at Valorant in 2021, Jett was being played on pretty much every single map. She was going to be like the duelist for most teams. Then you'd have like a Killjoy or a Sage, and then when Chamber came in, they were like, oh, Chamber basically does Jett's job in terms of like really strong op agent and has that sort of like get out of jail free card, but also has like information. He has a tripwire that can kind of take the place of a Cypher or a Killjoy as well. So what that then led people to do is, okay, so if we're playing him in place of Jett or Killjoy, then what are we missing? Oh, we're missing like a character with like a forward movement ability, right? You don't have Jett that can dash into a site. So people started playing a lot more Rays. It's like, oh, wait a second. Now that teams are playing Rays, that's a lot more abilities that are like have the potential to like get kills. Because previously, if you think about it, it's like, okay, Jett doesn't have any damaging abilities. So like it's like you're not looking to like pair up util as much. But then as soon as people start playing a lot more Rays, then it's like, oh, what goes with Rays really nicely? Breach has this concuss that can sort of lock people down for a minute, and then your Rays grenade can easily get a kill. Then Fade Released, who has basically like a luck snare almost. That's like, oh, wait, if you land that on someone and then Rays throws her grenade, it's a guaranteed kill every single time. So it's not necessarily like all these new characters are getting released with damage. It's about finding like, oh, these characters pair nicely and can almost like guarantee kills. But the root of the problem would be Rays. But I still think it's like balanced enough that it's not a big concern yet.
Okay. Because I remember the times when I played Rays, she still had 2 grenades.
She was insane back then,
and it was a party. You just threw grenades, and usually you would get kills, and that's how I never had to test the faith of how good my aiming was. And now when I play her, I'm like, Jesus, only one grenade, need to have 2 kills to get a refresh. Not for me. I can't put my.
She's a lot more fair now. More fair now.
That makes sense.
Although I will say, looking forward to this next year. So one thing I do think like Chamber was objectively overpowered, but I think he was kind of like a crutch character. Because like he's very easy to play if you're a team that's not super organized and like looking to like combine your utility. Then like, oh, slot in a Chamber, he'll play on his own and sort of figure it out. But now with Chamber gone, again, that's an agent with no damaging abilities. Now all of a sudden you're playing a lot more like, again, Killjoy, Cypher, these types of things. You're still not playing Jet on a lot of maps. So basically, when Jet and Chamber are not being played a lot, the game does become way more flooded with util. Because those two characters don't have abilities that actually damage you. And as soon as you start putting in characters that do in those places, you're increasing the pool of 3 characters with damaging abilities to now 5 potentially. Or like really annoying, like you have to shoot darts and all this stuff. So I do think next year is going to be a lot more chaotic of a game in terms of all that.
Okay. So so everything was revolving around Chamber for the longest time, and now there is no like real standout. Now there's a meta that is more defined by the teams rather than something that everyone needs to copy.
Effectively, what we've done is gone from like mid lane assassin, like bruiser, like mid lane fighter meta, from like 2018 or something like that, and now we're going more into like. Maybe Azir Corki is incorrect, but I would say like control mage, where it's like Orianna plus Jarvan, that sort of thing. It's like if you have these combos, the game is going to be a lot more about combos that capitalize off of util as opposed to like solo flashy plays.
I see. In terms of the map pool, how does that get decided? Which maps get filtered out and which maps stay?
Riot is fully in charge of that, basically. And it's whatever is enabled in the competitive ranked queue. So basically, they have 8 maps currently, but really 7, because when they introduced Pearl, which is the most recent map, they removed Split.
Oh no, Split.
Yeah, I loved Split. I love Split.
I love Split too, man.
But they have announced that on the next, like the start of year patch, basically, I believe Split is coming back, and they're removing Breeze and Bind. And they also Split is going to be reworked in some way.
But I like Bind. I like all the old maps.
All the old ones. So
Breeze can go away. That one I don't mind.
Yeah. I think Riot's plan is to always have 7 maps in the pool, and then just sort of cycle them in and out as they want to like do touch-ups on the maps, because the maps definitely aren't perfect.
Okay. Yeah, I was
but
curious.
it does mean one nice thing about that system is, because people always complain about double elim brackets not having like a full bracket reset, but because Valorant finals are played BO5s, the advantage for the team in upper bracket is, instead of normally in BO5s both teams get 1 ban, the winners bracket team gets both bans. So effectively they get to choose all the maps that they play, which is a huge advantage, but also fair enough for a team coming up from the loser bracket that I really like that format.
Okay. Is the format usually ban, pick, ban, pick?
Yes.
Into whatever map is left is played in best of threes? Because that's what I saw at the game change, I believe, if I remember correctly.
I think you added 1 extra. Oh no, you didn't. Or you added 1 extra pick phase, I think. But yeah, ban, pick, ban, 1 remaining.
Oh yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I made it into 9 maps. Maybe in the future. Yeah, I was curious. Maybe. I was curious if there was like some method that Riot applied to how they choose their maps. But already you saying that they kind of take maps that are maybe less balanced and then they just retouch them and then they put them back into the pool. That kind of makes sense.
I do know that they spoke with like some pro teams about like what maps they would like to see reworked or taken out of the pool. So I do think there was like some of that info, because a lot of pro teams really dislike Bind. I know. And then I really dislike Breeze. So I think those are actually two good choices to remove from the pool and rework.
Well, I'm happy for you.
Yeah, thanks.
Me playing in Gold Plat, missing Bind, I don't think we really need to care about this person's opinion. No. That's good. In terms of, is there any standout in terms of, so basically in League, it's like you have the curves of how players learn champions and how play rate is going to increase win rate and those curves, and at the same time how, depending on ranking, champion champion power or hero or like agent power also does it also work the same way in Valorant, that agents are more powerful in certain elo brackets and they have to adjust depending on multiple things, or do they more cater to the competitive side?
So there's definitely some variation between like elo brackets and also competitive to like normal play. But in a much more reduced capacity to League, especially when you're talking about like you're sort of hinting at like mastery curve of a character, which is like basically the first game you play, what is like the win rate of most people on their first game as opposed to like their 50th or their 100th game. For example, like Singed is a character in League that has an insanely high mastery curve, which is kind of funny. But that's because in League, apart from AD carries whose most of their power is cooked into their auto attacks, every character has like very unique and different abilities. Whereas in Valorant, so much more of the power is cooked into the guns, which is every agent can have them, that there's like far less variation between like agent power.
How would you define the weight of it? If you could, on average, say a weight of gunplay versus ability play?
Yeah.
What is the weight of
I would probably
importance?
say I would say especially 90, the lower 80%? You go in elo, I would say like 80% gunplay.
Okay.
And like that definitely like it gets lower the higher elo you get, I believe, as people get like better. But in the same way that in League, I don't know if you've probably heard this at some point, but like devs say like most players that buy Zonias never use Zonias. A lot of low elo players just either don't know that active items are a thing or can't think of it in the moment to use it reliably. And I think abilities in Valorant are like the same way.
Okay.
Like in lower ranks, people just don't use their abilities or don't use them effectively at all. So it doesn't matter as much. That being said, a character like Sage, who literally on your screen, it tells you if you have a damaged ally that needs to be healed, has a very high win rate, especially in low elo, because you're just almost guaranteed getting value out of that pick.
That makes sense.
So, yeah.
Okay. And Valorant, the balance policy is, would you say it's similar to League, or is it, is there like more catered to pro play, or?
I think it's much more catered to what would I say? I think like it's fairly similar to League. I think that because they just don't really have too many problems. I do think it's more catered to pro play because there have been like some examples of like Astra, for example, is an agent that is kind of like your Rise, where always problem in super high elo, no one plays her in low elo. And they sort of had to phase her out because she was like so dominant in the pro meta at the end of last year. So it does exist. And I think that, top end, they're definitely more concerned with pro play and like high level play than average Joe Silver.
Okay. That definitely makes sense in context what you said previously in regards to lower end players using abilities less, and also the fact that gunplay is the most important. Is gunplay, like in terms of the value distribution of guns, is it fairly balanced right now, or are changes to guns happening often in order to stir up things?
No, honestly, like gun balance has been great for like a year. I don't really have any complaints in terms of gun balance. Like they've done some like small tweaks here and there, but like overall, I've actually never had the only period that like guns seemed unfair was like when the op on release seemed like really broken, in terms of like you could like jump and like your crosshair wouldn't wiggle when you landed. But they like took care of that. They did a pass over shotguns pretty early on as well. But in terms of like the main rifles, those have always been like Phantom Vandal has been about a 50-50 in terms of like which one's better. It is definitely a style choice, which I think is super cool. So I think gunplay has always been good.
That's nice. That's very important. I remember the stories from Counter-Strike days, even when I played. It's like some guns were, if they were OP, they were OP for a full year before you had a little patch note come out with one change, and that's the gun that everyone knew was OP for a full year. So the Riot Games are revolutionizing the game. Thumbs up. In terms
Riot Games beating Counter-Strike just by patching every 2 weeks. Like, easy.
So good. If I put on my tinfoil hat, okay, my tinfoil hat is on, and let's say I believed in the conspiracy that in League of Legends, Riot, when they want to sell skins, they are incentivized to make certain champions much, much stronger just to increase the play rate and to see where they land. Do you think Valorant has that benefit that all of their revenue is coming from gun skins rather than champion skins, that when they release new champions or new agents, they are not incentivized to make them so broken that everyone are incentivized to play them? Tinfoil hat. Put on your tinfoil hat too.
So in terms of skins, no, because I just know for a fact that's not how League operates. Like, I think there have been some situations where like there's a skin coming up for a character, and maybe that has them accelerate like one of the soft reworks that they do, like the mini updates. But like they're like, you look at the patch notes, there have been patches where like champions have been nerfed that they've also gotten a skin. I know from working on the team that's just like not actually a
You don't have a tinfoil hat on, so you're not.
No,
you're not
my the real tinfoil hat is that in League it is a real thing that characters are released or like immediately patched to be much stronger than they should be to accommodate for like the mastery curve we're talking about. Where like learning a new character in League is much harder than learning a new character in Valorant, because for all the reasons that we said. So I think that is a legitimate advantage. But at the same time, like there have been agents like that have like Harbor has released very weak. So we'll see how that stacks up. There haven't been too many new agent releases. So we'll see over time how they change. But I think that it's definitely a much bigger issue in League with like champion releases. But this whole skin thing, that's nonsense.
Okay. I remember, I guess it was more of, I think more recently, maybe, I can't recall that ever being an issue, but I remember back in the days when Riot released like a champion almost every third week, every second week, and I would have to play the Go for LOL to try to win the champion and both skins at the same time with some RP. And then I remember every champion that was on release was just so busted. It was beyond comprehension, and that champion would just be permabanned for the longest time ever. And that, to me, struck me as like a sales technique, you know?
So I can't speak of anything that happened before 2017.
This was 2012, 2013. This was ages ago. Yeah.
But I would also say that at that point, that was probably more of an issue of not understanding how to like with like, because now it takes Riot a year from like ideation of a character to actually releasing it, with so much testing along the way. Like the playtest team, yes, there have been some misses. I missed Nunu and his win rate went up by 17% on a patch. Let's not talk about that. When he got the AP ratio, when he W'd someone, the old Nunu. Anyways, and Nunu was 0 was a thing. That was my fault.
Yes,
but if you think about like how quickly they were releasing characters back then, and also I don't think they had a real playtest team. I imagine that was less of a sales technique and more of a we're throwing shit at the wall and we don't know what numbers any of these characters should actually have to be balanced.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. This is freak. Here's another video for you to make. Go into PTR and give us some content, my man. No, for sure. Okay. In regards to, so there was this dev blog recently, right? Dev blog in regards to Yuumi. So it's Yuumi. In my mind, when I read that dev blog, right? They wanted to maintain that player fantasy and also maintain the idea of Yuumi being a champion for beginners. And they basically have data that shows them that beginners are prone to play Yuumi, and it's an enjoyable experience because they can follow along the ride of maybe they're more experienced friends while they're playing, right? And then they want to remove the frustrating part away from Yuumi in terms of her safety, and in higher end play that people are leveraging her resources very effectively in terms of her HP pool, and they are using Airy together with Moonstone super effectively by jumping in and out and so forth. In my mind, when I read that post, I felt like there was like a contradiction that you can't create a scenario where a champion is going to have that power of being untargetable for an indefinite duration and at the same time not lose enough power in her other abilities to be balanced in terms of what they want to achieve. That was like at least my impression. Like if they want to maintain that untargetability and have that idea of latching onto someone and just playing around with them, that you would have to reduce the power of everything else so much that it would be borderline like troll to almost pick Yuumi, or at least remove like the adaptive force and all of these steroids that Yuumi has, and maybe make her abilities just like Chugal from Heroes of the Storm. You as a person who has game design experience, when it comes to the issue of Yuumi, you have now the keys to the castle. How would you solve Yuumi?
So I think the first thing you have to look at in a kit, especially when it's like there's a big disconnect between power and like high or low elo play, is like, what is the problem in the kit, or what is like the lever that is like that pro players or high level players are exploiting that low level players are not. So I think that like in Yumi's case, that is probably tied into her passive. Because I don't think it's very intuitive for new players to be like, oh, I actually need to be like stepping out of my W a lot to like get auto attacks off. Because that gives me mana back, that gives me a shield, like all this stuff. So, and I know that like one of the things that like high level players are best at is knowing like when they can actually hop in and out. That's like a really big like skill discretion, I guess, between the two ranges. I actually think like, I think that is like the first thing on the kit that probably needs to go. And yeah, basically I think like that needs to be heavily reworked, because again, you're trying to like maintain like she's supposed to be staying inside of people. Now that of course comes with the problem of, well, now there's no incentive to pop out. So what I might also suggest, and again, this comes with like, the problem is low-level Yuumi players are never hopping out, which is not necessarily a problem for them. But if there was no incentive for high-level players to pop out, then like they would just be doing the same thing. I would maybe recommend putting a time limit on how long you can stay inside someone early game, and maybe have that remove as you put points in W, or as the character just gets levels. Like maybe even when you hit level 6, that could be something that gets removed. And basically just encourage low-level players like, oh, you actually do have to fight early on. Now that would also probably come with, you have to like increase her health, maybe her like base auto, stuff like this. But just actually make her a real ranged character in lane somewhat. That's potentially an idea. Because like the rest of the kit, it's really hard to change, right? Like I think her Q and her E, you probably don't touch. Her ultimate also, you probably don't touch. So you're really just looking at passive and W. And off the top of my head, that's kind of where my mind is at. And maybe if you do like the timed W thing in lane, you can leave the passive as something that still exists. But I think like an auto attack passive like that is so unintuitive for a new player character that wants to be staying inside of their teammate the entire lane phase. And I think that's the main issue.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like it becomes so difficult to maintain the identity of having a champ that can be inside of someone permanently and achieving all the other things that Riot wants to achieve, that I saw in the post. Like one way could be, in my mind, if as the game begins, you have to choose who you are allowed to attach to for the rest of the game, and then that's the only player that you can attach to, and that's you, Yuumi, and the buddy, you and me, and you commit to that identity completely, and you don't have this idea of because I think most of the time, if Yuumi is attached to ADs, I feel like that's rather fair. I think the issue comes when Yuumi gives adaptive force to champions that are always fighting to be on this certain power curve to pretty much take over the game or be completely useless. It's like Kayn or Hecarim. Those are usually like the most frustrating cases where them having that additional layer of adaptive force and the move speed just becomes way too powerful, you know? And that would be like an idea that I would have where you just attach the AD carry and that's the choice that you've made at the beginning of the game. There was other conversation, like when I talked about this on stream the other time, Also now in chat, someone mentioned that the attaching part should only be her ultimate, but then you've moved away from the initial concept. But it's more in line with what you were thinking too, that in lane, she's actively like a range support. Another comment that Riot did was that they want to keep Yuumi in the sphere of what Sona, Annie, and Garen is, but those champions are not relying on this attaching process to be beginner friendly. So maybe that's just the one thing that you kind of have to let go, because in my mind that's the toughest cookie to solve. I
do think maybe like in terms of like those characters you just mentioned, they all have like really simple inputs, which I think Yuumi does have, except for her Q. Now, it is like a target homing missile that I don't think is like... I think if it's very unique to the game, I would not be surprised if they changed that in some way, just because it's like such a unique ability. Like you're literally drawing on the screen where you want your ability to go, which does seem kind of silly to be like, oh, this is your first character to play League of Legends. Here's this ability that's your main ability, and no other character has an ability like this. Also, this attach mechanic, no other character has an ability like this. So I think there's some element there where it's like, oh, it's a really noob friendly character, but it doesn't actually help teach you how to play the game.
Yes.
And that's kind of suspect. But I don't like making her attaching her ult, primarily because I think one of the hardest thing for new players to do is lane. And I think that having the attach mechanic makes laning so much simpler, that I don't know. I would like to see that remain in some way. But I do think your point about like her switching who she attaches to through the game is another one of those elements where it's like high-elo players really know how to min-max, right? Like I know that I want to attach to my bruiser frontline. That's like usually just the best person to pop onto. You just ignore your AD carry. It doesn't matter. So I do like the idea of limiting her in that way. But also, if my AD carry dies, then I feel really bad. Or, oh my God, what if my AD carry is really mad and they start inting and I actually can't attach to anyone and I'm completely useless if I can't switch it up? Like, that's one of those things where I'm like, oh, that making it so binary like that is tough. But yeah, I don't know.
Maybe in that case, like when you're outside with Yuumi, that you can still target your spells, but you don't have that safety. Maybe that could be a way. But yeah, it's very difficult. I'm genuinely excited for what Riot is going to do, because I can't see a elegant solution. So I'm curious what is going to go down, because I don't think Riot could ever say we're deleting this champion from the game.
That'll never happen.
That's never gonna happen.
They could big rework her, but never a deletion.
Yes. Ugh. It's crazy to me that it's always almost Christmas. Like it's almost Christmas. I feel like time just flies for me. It's like I notice that it's winter when my face begins to hurt because of the weather. But when you are in California,
you don't have that problem.
You don't have that problem. But for me, it's a good thing, because my calendar year is according to the tournaments. This is the world's times. This is like this is Demacia Cup times. This is in California. I can't imagine. It's like a sunny perma. It's sunny perma.
Dude, it's sunny. The trees are still green here. Like I'm literally looking out the window, and all I see are trees fully leaved, and it's all green.
Fully leaved.
Yeah. All the leaves are still up. Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy.
I cannot imagine. Like, that has to be the biggest challenge of being in the LCS, no? That everything is so nice and easy in terms of...
Yeah, but at least you have your weekends free now, so...
Oh, yeah. That's another thing that I wanted to ask you. What's your take on the whole schedule change? Because I understand, like, on my end, right? On my end, I understand that there's premium time slots, and I understand that they don't want to make sure that all of the global products are cannibalizing each other in terms of viewership, because there's a viewer that really just wants to watch esports on demand, and then there's the viewer that prefers to watch certain games in certain timings, so they will always find that. For me, my concern is that they are drawing from metrics that maybe can't be applicable in the same way in towards the LCS in their arguments in that blog post, because they have viewership in terms of, let's say, LCK on weekdays and LPL on weekdays, and that has gone up a lot. That could be specifically tied to the LCK being on those days rather than people wanting to consume esports on those days. Which, of course, I might be wrong on this assessment, but at least that's my concern, that it's very obvious that there are some premium time slots in terms of LCS being put in this spot. Is it bad or good? What do you think?
So I don't know, and I don't even know if it's public really, exactly like the info that they are like basing the decision on.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even know like how much of that is like 100% like, oh, this is like the best decision we can do to like min-max viewership. I think they are looking sort of holistically. I think the only regions they're really looking at in terms of like viewership, and this just makes sense, is NA and EMEA, right? But that's across both League and Valorant. It does seem to me like one of the big decisions is, okay, usually LEC and LCS are on the same day. And imagine you already are watching like multiple games of LEC in a day. Do you stay up to like continue watching LCS? Because like, even if you're an American, I'm not even talking about like Europeans that are going to bed after like game 1 or 2. Like I would usually watch the last 2 or 3 games of LEC, and then LCS starts after that. I'm like,
CB.
Am I gonna stick around for that? I don't know.
If it's on, it's on in the bar, then it's okay. But sorry, continue, please.
But I do think that so that's one thing that makes sense. It's like, okay, the more successful product in my opinion is LEC, and I don't think that's like, I mean, just viewership wise, like you can't really argue with that. So I think like in that sense it's like, okay, let's double down on LEC, give them the weekend time slots. NA will go during the week. I also think that you look at Valorant and it's like, oh, Valorant in America is super successful, they're making a big push for that, so give that weekends. Like that makes sense to me. Then again, like you're not having the same esports fight with each other on the day. And then I believe it's like the inverse. It looks like for like the weekday schedules. So I think I personally think it makes some sense. But also I'm not the target audience, because like, for example, like if I was still in school, I would just watch LCS on my phone in class.
For sure.
Like I would literally just do that. Also, as now a professional, I'm like, oh, this is awesome. I don't have like things and like League and Valorant aren't happening on the same day. I work in both of those games. I watch both of those games. Like that gives me a lot of options. So for me, I'm like, this is awesome. For the average person, I don't know. And I don't know if it's like possible to know other than people being like, this is my experience, until we actually see the numbers when it happens this year.
For sure. No, I'm with you 100%. That the reasoning behind what Riot want for their esports product as a whole, I think the decision makes 100% sense. But trying to frame it in a way that it makes sense for the LCS in order to revive their viewership, I think I agree with the argument that LCS coming right after LEC could be like the point of exhaustion. But I worry that just because European viewership is watching the LCK and the LPL, that making that assumption based on that data, which is how I read the blog post, which of course could be wrong, that is going to transfer, it's maybe not a certainty. And at the same time, I think it is always so hard to judge within the span of just a year how much of an impact such a change could have, especially now with the LCS. I think in terms of the rosters that they've built, I think LCS is looking way more exciting than it has in a very long time, with the Bjergsen and Doublelift coming back, with the FlyQuest roster and with the Team Liquid roster. There's a lot of like things that I feel very incentivized to, as an enjoyer of League of Legends, to pay attention to, not only for business reasons but also as a spectator. So in that, they might have there might be a situation where maybe there is a false sense of reassurance for those time slots, but all in all, I think I'm with you 100%. I feel, considering I'm going to move and do a lot of content now in spring, I am very happy that everything is separated on a day-to-day basis, and I don't need to be making like choices depending on the day by looking at the schedule. So
all the co-streamers like wiping the sweat off their brow. Like,
yes.
I don't have to work 10-hour days on the weekends. Like, this is nice. I do also think one other thing. Did they say it was a noon start time for LCS on those weekdays?
Yes.
Like PST. So like 9 in Europe. Like that's like a couple hours before it was usually starting on the weekends too.
Yes.
So I do think there's like, especially for those last few games, that's really good for viewership, because there's a large portion of LEC fans that go over and watch LCS too.
Yeah.
So I do think there's some legitimacy to saying like, oh, we actually can like keep that viewer base longer. Now, obviously, that doesn't, NA fans don't feel better about the decision because of that. But in terms of like the product overall, like that could be legitimate.
Mm-hmm. No, it's basically how I imagine it. It's like, imagine if Riot had their own TV channel running all the time, then you would want to space out the products, and that's basically how they will cater their esports experience. That something is available always when you need it to be, unless you are awake at 5 a.m. for no good reason, because at that time on TV there's only stupid ass commercials for vacuum cleaners. You really don't need like vacuum cleaners that can clean in every surface ever. Look over this surface, over mouse pad. Oh my goodness, look at this. Ridiculous commercials, man. Like, fucking hell. Oh, I want to ask you.
I want those commercials to bleed into esports.
You know, I could imagine like you making some crazy ass skits off of that, man. You're like a mad scientist.
Next year.
Yeah, I was scrolling through my pictures the other day, and I see you with this fucking cowboy outfit. This fucking cowboy.
That was at Worlds, by the way.
I have a picture of you with those fucking silly ass arms of this cowboy outfit. Oh,
it's fun. I look back to that 2019 Worlds, because I'm gonna keep it a buck here. Like, Worlds never had funny segments. Like, literally, the funny segment in like early days league was Monte Cristo brings a prop on the desk and we'll do like a bit off of it. But it's like not an actual, like, and like that was good at the time. But then like, oh my God, like now it's like this last Worlds, I really enjoyed a lot of the content they did on the desk, but I'm gonna say 2019 Worlds was the first time we started doing fun shit like that, and I don't know. I think I kind of led a wave there.
Okay. Yeah, it's the battle of the Riot Global. At least in my impression, always I feel like it's more heavily influenced of some of the guys that are working in North America, and I feel like they always want to deliver like a more serious product. Boom, 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 boom. Serious. This is sports. EA Sports. This is a sports segment. We're gonna talk about the players, the storylines. Dun 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 dun. No room for jokes. LEC, calm down. I'm gonna keep you in the stables. And then the moment
the stables.
I remember the phrase that I was told: don't ask for permission, ask for forgiveness. Do whatever the fuck you want. Just go with it. It's gonna be great. And I was like, oh shit. I am not.
It has been, I will say, it has been like nice to see that, like, because I definitely feel that for like a long time in LCS, but they have really been like pushing their boundaries a lot. Like, it's still like the LCS show is nowhere near as like wild with, but actually that's not even true, because they had like the whole like fight sequence between Dash and Kobe that was, I still don't know what I was watching. I was watching them actually just beat the shit out of each other on the LCS show. It was awesome. Yeah, I it makes me happy that that's been like less extreme. Also, a lot of people wearing bomber jackets over there. I'm just saying. Back in my day, that wasn't looked too kindly upon. But,
yeah, bro. The LEC has gone ballistic. I saw Kadril wearing a hoodie and then a blazer jacket on top of that, and that to me is sacrilegious. Very sacrilegious.
Look, I showed some nip on the broadcast last year when I rolled in. Like,
I must have missed your nip. I must have missed your nip. I was probably busy that day.
I think you were playing. You were on stage or something. I don't know. Probably,
yeah. Good that you didn't catch, because if I saw your nip while drafting, all the Yuumis would be opened. There would be, there would be no going back.
I'm glad for your case you didn't see that.
I'm happy that LEC threw a bone to the dear LCS though. You can have the Friday. We will take a Monday. We'll take the Monday on the chin. No problem. You don't have to schedule your games on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Arguably the most boring weekdays, I would say.
It's funny though, because didn't LCS used to run on Mondays? Didn't they do like Monday? Because they were trying to copy like Monday Night Football, so they did like.
Oh yeah, with the Bud Light thing.
Mondays. Yeah, right.
But they had like a PG-18 stream or some shit.
Yeah. This isn't the first time LCS has gone to weekdays, by the way.
Yeah. That is true. That is true. And the way your hair is now reminds me of the movie. What's that movie in the desert?
Dune. Yes. Sorry. That's awesome. That makes me so happy.
You're like the
I literally went to my stylist, my hairstylist, and I showed her a picture of Timothy Chalamet. I was like, I want that. So that's why we dyed the hair.
Like, wait, what's his name? I need to pull it up.
Timothy Chalamet.
Timothy Chalamet. That's a Hollywood name right there, man. How can you not land roles with this name? Timothy Chalamet.
Chalamet. Chalamet.
Oh, Chalamet worked. Oh, I see him. Oh, look at you, man. Yeah. Bro, of course you look like him, man. Your barber's is smurfing it. Yeah, absolutely smurfing it. Okay. I need to get a haircut too. Which actor should I copy? Give me a name.
I don't know. I only know Timothy. I don't know other
Timothy,
actors.
But I can't copy Timothy.
What's an actor that you think you like vaguely look like?
Shit.
Because that's where you got to start, I think. Because you got to get like the same like hair type, you know. Bruce Willis or The Rock. Yeah.
So
you can pull it off.
Just bald actors. I'll shave my head. It's time. Oh man.
The bald arc.
Oh man. Is that a fear of yours to ever lose your hair? Or do you have like great genetics in the family?
So, okay, here's the thing. I think my dad lost his hair, but my grandparents didn't. And especially my granddad on my mom's side, who I got my height from, and also like this weird fucking crooked finger shit.
Oh, that is weird.
Yeah, isn't that weird? He did not. So I am optimistic that I have most of his genes, and that I'll survive. But I think if I make it to like 60 and then bald, then I have like the perfect face, I think, if we start getting a little saggy here, to be like a villain. Because I've got these big ass ears that once they get like droopy and I become old, I think I could pull off the bald villain look very nicely.
Okay. Well, I need to see the size of your ears. I have big ears too. Look at my ears.
Okay, so the thing is, now my hair kind of blocks them. But I've got look at us, bro. Big ass ears.
Oh,
but you can't see it because of the hair now.
I got bullied
because they also they kind of like jut out from they don't like go back. They're kind of like outward facing.
Okay. Mine used to be. I think I honestly believe due to my headset usage, they have like grown.
You evolved.
It's like in the past I didn't have a big old head, but now I have a big ass head, so my ears fit more. But when I was a kid, bro, I was Dumbo.
Dude, I literally got called Dumbo.
Me too,
it
man.
Was bad.
Me too. I was like the only foreigners, and I had the biggest ears on the planet. And then people kept telling me, "Do you know that your ears never stop growing?" And it's like,
oh God,
why are you sharing this fact with me? I don't know. Maybe you thought it's interesting. It's like this passive aggressive, comments.
You're going to be a freak your whole life.
Yeah, the kids are ruthless. Ruthless. Awful. It's like, how on earth, without internet, without Google, how on earth do you have this information? Crazy, man.
It can come straight out of their ass.
Absolutely nuts. So I'm going to shave my head. That's what I understand.
I like it.
Yeah. Okay. What are you cooking for next year, Ender?
What am I cooking?
What are you cooking? What's next for Ender?
Good question. I don't know. I don't know exactly. Definitely gonna keep on the Valorant grind. I really want to make like a VCT main international event. That's just like where the majority of my passion is. I have also been like the last like week or two, I've been sort of basically before the end of like every year, I do some like brainstorming of like, oh, what do I want like my sort of like brand to be heading into next year? What kind of like content do I want to make? So actually one of the things that I'm really going to lean into next year is like fashion content.
Okay.
So yeah, so I think I'm going to do a lot more like whether it's like Insta or like TikTok. Literally like my entire TikTok is just like fashion stuff and like it's like fashion talk, book talk, and like apartment stuff. Like people's like really nice apartments, like furniture and stuff.
Bro, you've been inspired by Frosk, it sounds like.
Yeah, no, literally.
These are things that I would. This makes me think of Frosk. Fashion, apartment design. You know, that couple has a genius for all of the things in regards to design. Even the room you're in is gorgeous. So you're in the right place for inspiration.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I'm gonna do a lot of that, and then also kind of with the stuff I was doing previously on LEC, like I was writing a bunch of like skits and stuff, which I slowed down with this year. But I wanted to start doing like a lot more like collabs next year and like writing things. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm cooking up in terms of content stuff.
Okay. That's exciting. I like that.
Also, I've been toying with the idea of doing some stand up. So
we'll see. That I've also considered that actually.
Oh really?
Yeah. I make my girlfriend laugh sometimes. I think maybe I can make other people laugh too. And I think I would handle rejection so well. I honestly don't think I would give a damn if like I would get booed. You know, I would find that hilarious. Like for me,
well, I think getting booed is way less bad than silence. If it's silence, then I'm like, ooh, okay, that's kind of rough. But if I get booed, I'm with you. That's hilarious. Yeah.
No, that to me, like those, I love awkwardness. So it's like if I find myself there, I find it hilarious. Like I would laugh my ass off if like it's completely silent and my joke just falls flat. I would love that. I love those situations. Sometimes I create those situations intentionally when I'm bored. Like if I remember on the High Sense set, for example, we were filming some shit and we have to just wait for hours for people to be done. And then I'm there in a situation with people I don't know. And I just start fucking with people just because I'm bored. Not in a mean way, but in a weird way that leaves them, is he serious or is he not serious?
Yeah.
And I love doing that. I love creating awkwardness. And I see my players, they're like cringing, what the fuck is happening? And I'm doing it for the story, you know? I love that.
It's so funny because I hate it when people do that because I... Especially with people I know, it's like fine. With people I don't know, I am like, so it's not like gullible, but I'll just take everything they say at face value, even if I don't necessarily like, because I just like, I don't like conflict at all. So like you could fuck with me completely. I'd be like, oh yeah, it makes sense, you know, like yeah, sure, like yeah, you've been to the moon before, sure, why not? Like I trust you.
Well, there's like the talent behind it, and I use that word very loosely. Is to know exactly, just based on that small interaction, like how much you can fuck with people before it becomes bad, you know?
Oh yeah, you could go all the way with it.
Just knowing the line, you know? Just knowing the line.
Yeah.
I remember it's like this High Sense photo shoot. It's like I just, and then eventually I see, oh, that was the camera guy. Oh shit! And it's like, you know, I have given nicknames to everyone on the set, and it's just everyone has been messed with, and just to give them kind of a story, you know, to tell someone else. Yeah. I like doing that. I love doing that.
Oh my god! So one of the things my older sister does at family reunions a lot is because she hates talking about herself.
Okay.
And also it's like, it's one of those things where like, especially with like maybe like extended family, they've like heard that you like do this one thing, but it gets like distorted. Like you play the game of telephone. So it's like, I could be an esports caster or I could be a fucking player on a professional Major League Baseball team. Like it gets lost somewhere, you know?
No, I get that.
So she'll kind of like just tweak what she does with her job. And I started doing it too, because it's like whenever I take an Uber or something or like meet people and they ask you what you do, like I just hate having to like do the whole like, oh, so you know video games, right? And then you play them, but then there's tournaments, and then I'm the guy that talks during those tournaments. Like, I hate that's like I'll do like some variation of like what I do in gaming, like every time I get into an Uber. Usually it's like game designer is a classic of mine.
I make games.
I make games. Yeah.
What kind of games? Like, all kinds of games. Tetris, tic-tac-toe,
Fortnite,
everything you ever played. Games.
It's just like, oh god, I hate those conversations so much.
Oh, man. But it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to make a story. This is a friend of mine. His name is Artsif Babikian, who is one of my closest friends. But at the same time, I when I moved to Germany, I didn't keep in touch with him because I didn't keep in touch with anyone in Sweden pretty much when I moved. And somehow he was an exchange student in Korea. So while we were boot camping in Korea, that's where I met him again. And but basically this guy he always found a way to make any situation into a stage. And he would be very charismatic in this way by knowing exactly how much he could mess with people before it went too far. So he made people open up in a way, and he just knew how to dance on that line in terms of how far he could go with things, just to make people show character and bring life to a scene that maybe doesn't have it, you know? And this is a lot of my inspiration in terms of that has come from this source, because I remember so many times in school where everything was boring. We were doing like some bullshit science experiment where we're like, there's like some copper solution and we're dipping aluminum into it, and then he realized that it's boring, everyone's bored, so he just begins to like walk around, and the teacher was the nicest teacher ever, she would never get angry, and he would just go around and like throw random shit into everyone's copper solution. And at the time, he was doing it specifically to this group of girls that would always be like against anything that we did. It's like if we spoke up in class, they would always be annoyed. They would think that we are wasting the time, whatever. And he would just troll with them. And then they called the teacher, and the teacher just started laughing. You know, the teacher started laughing and just creating a situation out of nothing. This was the brilliance of this man. You know. And I like that. I love awkwardness. It's for me. I love it. That's why I love The Office. It's like The Office is so fucking awkward. I love it. Some people can't watch it, but I love it.
I don't get how you could not be able to watch The Office. That hurts me.
The Office is pretty light.
But to be fair, like I find most like comedy shows absolutely terrible, especially like the ones that people like love. Like everyone is so hyped about Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah, I hate
they were
it.
A few years ago. Oh, it's so bad. Oh my god. Like everything is just like so like every character is such an extreme like caricature, you know? Like I just don't believe it at all. And like all the jokes are like, I don't know. They're very like
I want to do a test.
Face.
I want to do a test with you, Ender, okay? So basically, I want you to write down your top 3 favorite shows, okay? Top 3. Just write them down, but don't enter, like comedy shows, okay? Don't press enter. We're going to press enter at the same time, okay?
Am I putting it in chat?
And we are putting it in our Discord chat, okay?
Okay.
So for me... And we press enter at the same time, because I want to see how much crossover there is. Because I think that we are thinking exactly the same about this.
Okay, that's exciting. I'm ready.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. I knew it.
That's crazy. That's crazy. We're actually 3 for 3 chat.
I knew it. By the way. Insane. I knew it because the moment you said you don't like this fucking bullshit comedy, fucking sitcom crap, I knew you think exactly the same as me.
That's so awesome. For everyone wondering, it is Arrested Development, The Office, and Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And nothing else comes even close.
It's like I wanted to put potentially like Afterlife in there, but it's such a short show, so maybe not. Afterlife.
I've never seen Afterlife.
Oh, you have to watch Afterlife. Oh my god, such a good show. So it's on Netflix original.
I'll watch it tonight.
So good, bro. Arrested Development is so genius because
it's the best show of all time.
every rewatch you find something new. There's a joke in a joke in a joke in a joke in a joke, and it's always so clever and so smart.
Yeah, you want to know, because I just did another, I've probably watched the show at least 10 times, but I just did one earlier this year, and I literally had never realized before that, like, the first time you're introduced to Maybe, literally, like, the narrator, Ron Howard is like, and this is George Michael's cousin, Maybe.
Oh.
Like, is she? We don't know. Like, what? That's crazy, dude. How did I know? It's like the most obvious thing ever. But like, I don't know. It's just so genius. Oh my god.
It's just, love that show. It's like I remember small bits of the show, and then it's like it's such a clever show, so it's hard to like remember everything. But when you watch it, it all comes back, and it always brings me joy. Like so much joy. It's just so good. It's so good. It's funny too, because I think like looking at the shows, like Arrested Development has the best writing of any sitcom. Like actually the running gags, the wordplay, like everything is so insane. It's Always Sunny has like the best improv of any show, I think, because I've learned a lot about how they do it, and it's like sometimes their script will literally just say like Dennis says something funny. It's like what? Like the openings to the show, like usually they know like how the scene needs to end, but like all the conversation they have is different every time. They're just like shooting the shit at the bar. It's so cool. And then like The Office just has like one of the, I mean, it's just like, I don't know, kind of like perfect relatable characters in every way. Compared to like the other two shows that have like not really relatable characters but are hilarious. Yes, no, for sure. I think like Michael definitely does some good ass fucking improvisation. That's a rabbit hole that I went into. But I agree that in terms of characters, they're very endearing. And then of course the show ends when Michael leaves. We don't talk about the storylines of trying to make Andy the fucking general manager and all of that jazz.
It's not as bad as Arrested Development season 4 and 5 though. I will give it that.
Honestly, I don't even know if I've watched season 5.
You shouldn't. It's not worth it.
Oh shit.
It's so bad.
Okay, that's good.
It's like a 16-year later reboot. Like it was doomed to fail. Also, season 4, like the reason why it's so fucking weird is because A, none of the original writers came back, and B, all of the actors were in different locations. So they would shoot a scene where two characters are talking to each other, but one of them was in New York and the other was in Los Angeles. Like, that's why it's all over the place, is because they were literally trying to like make it work with the actors' schedules and locations.
Oh shit. There must have been something behind that. Maybe there was like, oh, you're on the contract, you have to do this. And then the writers it's just like to peace out or some shit.
Yeah, everyone was like doing movies, or like some of them didn't even act anymore. Like, they're off doing their own thing. Yeah, so it's kind of a mess.
Okay. What is your second most favorite general manager besides Michael Scott in The Office?
In The Office? Oh God. Wait.
The juggling routine, maybe.
Wait, what?
The juggling routine when he's juggling with invisible balls. Fucking, what's his name?
Oh, from Robert California?
No, not Robert California.
Will Ferrell. Yeah.
Oh, maybe God. That man, maybe Robert California. I kind of like Robert California. Not a lot of people like him. I kind of like Robert
California too. He's so weird.
It's just... He's so out of place.
He's so uncomfortable.
Yes.
I can see that you would like him. Yeah.
It seems like it's obvious that his character is just written and the actor is just acting the shit out of it, and it works in my opinion. But I really like Robert California. It's like the fucking... You don't even know my real name. I'm the fucking Lizard King. I love it when fucking Andy is trying to hijack the company. It's one of my favorite moments. And
I think Creed should have been manager for longer.
We have to do acronyms.
Yeah. But honestly, every time because The Office isn't on Netflix in the US anymore.
Okay.
It hasn't been for like a couple years. So every time I go back to Berlin, I always watch The Office.
Nice.
And then same, Always Sunny isn't on Netflix, but it is in the UK. So when I go to the UK or like I'm going through, I'll watch some episodes of Sunny.
Bro, I'll send you a website and you'll never have this issue. I have I have a little website.
No, of course you don't. You mean it's Peacock? Yes,
yeah,
yes.
It's a Gangplank site.
Interesting.
No, man. So Robert California is your guy? Is that where you land?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
I don't like have a super opinion on the other managers.
Yeah. That's fair.
I usually stop after I get there.
Makes sense. It's a perfect ending. Like Mike, he just removes his microphone and hugs Pam, and then he flies away, and then it's over. I like that. I think that makes sense. I think the writers really trying to make Andy the general manager, and then he's like, yo guys, I need to go film The Hangover.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna take a boat trip.
Oh, is that why he went on the boat trip?
Yes.
I didn't know that lore. That's awesome.
That's why he went on a stupid boat trip.
Wait, that's crazy.
And then
Why did they should see? I think they should have just done something like really on the nose, like, oh, he just was like in Vegas partying for like 3 months, you know? Like I like when that happens. Like, so I think this is intentional, but you know, the first episode of BoJack Horseman.
I don't remember it.
Oh, so yeah, I mean, the only thing to remember is oh my god, Jesse Pinkman. What's his name? Andrew. Aaron Paul. Yeah. Like he has like some run-in with like a cartel in the first episode.
Okay.
And I swear that has to be because of like him on Breaking Bad. I don't know. Like I think like on the nose stuff like that is pretty epic.
Okay.
He should have been partying in Vegas. That would have been way better.
So you mean, do you think the situation might have been that, he was supposed to be a part of BoJack Horseman and then he peaced out because he was filming better shit? But Breaking Bad came out way earlier,
he was all a part of it. I think
okay.
So it might have just been in the script anyways, but I always thought of it as like, that's like a small, because it's not like an actual plot point for his character ever again. It's just like mentioned in that first episode.
Okay.
So it would not surprise
Aaron Paul
me.
is a big part of BoJack Horseman.
Yeah.
Bro, I never realized.
Yeah. It's Aaron Paul and Will Arnett from Arrested Development. Job.
Job, I realized because fucking the horse is fucking talking like Job.
It's Job. Yeah.
This part I realized.
But Aaron Paul is Todd, his roommate.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
What?
I
never realized.
Yeah, because he does his voice kind of different. It's like it's pretty good.
Okay. That's crazy. BoJack never latched on to me. I think I never continued with BoJack just due to how much Alena hated BoJack. So
how many episodes did you watch?
So I watched, I think, so basically I watched it. So I'm doing the bunny ears because you can't see me. I'm doing the bunny ears. I watched it because I downloaded it and then I went on a trip. And then I had it on while I was standing in line, while I was on the plane, half sleeping, and I was watching it like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, for me, I had a similar reaction where like everyone was hyping it up. Like fucking Ify was hyping it up. My family was hyping it up. Like literally everyone I talked to, and I tried to watch the pilot 4 times before I made it to the second episode, like 4 separate times, because I thought it was so bad. Because like they all sold it to me as like, it's this amazing like dark comedy, and it's like I don't like after watching it, I don't really think it's a comedy like that much. Like there's some like wordplay and stuff. Like there are definitely like some funny situations, but like it's just way more of like a drama to me. Then it's like there's like ridiculous things that happen, but like I think it's like one of those shows that like you give it a few episodes, you'll be like, I understand these characters much better now, and I want to see what their story actually is. Then like gut wrenching laughs. There are definitely like some gut wrenching laughs in there, but it's more of like almost like a Breaking Bad kind of comedy where it's like there's funny things that happen, there are funny situations, but that's not the focus. The story and the characters are first.
Yeah. Okay.
And after that, it's like one of my favorite shows of all time. It's incredible.
Okay. Okay.
But took me so long to get into.
Yeah, for me, I don't know. It's like with my half-assed attempt at watching it, it gave me like this it reminded me of like Californication or something, you know? It's like there's this man's descent into drugs and all of the life lessons that are so shitty, and then he has to find himself in that and figure that out. Which doesn't sound like a comedy at all, the way my half-assed attempt at viewing it would. And again,
it's not really a comedy. Like it's more satire. Because there's a lot of like there's a lot of satire about like Hollywood, the news, like literally just these like celebrities, like that sort of stuff. It's much more that kind of humor, where it's like making fun of like the lifestyle, than it is like, good one.
Yeah. So we talked about the shows. What is the show that you hate the most? If there's a show out there, it's like, why the fuck are people watching this? Can't be the Big Bang Theory.
I watched the Big Bang Theory. I like that, but I also watched it when I was much younger, so I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if I would watch it now and find it funny. Is the thing. I cat sat for Frost before, and I watched because they had HBO Max, which I didn't have at the time. So I watched Succession, the first season, and I thought it was dreadful. Like, it's one of these like dramas that's like super hyped. I think like everyone's always talking about it, and I was just like, I could not care less about any of these characters, the story, or what's going on. And then I didn't watch it. And then I came back here. This is probably like 6 months after I watched the first season. I watched the second season. I just finished that last night. And again, I was like, okay, this is like kind of lame. And then the end of the second season happened. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe there's some promise here. So I don't know. We'll see. But usually I don't usually stick with shows that I think are bad. I just like drop them instantly. I need to like go on my Netflix and actually like, I need to find this. What's a show that you thought is mega overrated?
Like I don't know if anyone rated it, but there was this show that me and Elena recently watched. It was about this house. Okay, it was about this house, and they were trying the whole build up about this building, this house that they moved into, that it was haunted in some way. But there was but they always gave you signs that there was some explanation to it, and it wasn't something that was necessarily like a ghost or whatever. It was just some dark entities in terms of humans are doing something to fuck with this house. And basically this whole there's only one season, and they make such a grand build up, and they're making this build up in such a good way. Like the build up is like as you're watching those episodes and you check there's 2 episodes left, you just know that last episode is gonna feel so good, and then it just didn't, and then it just all that time investment for nothing. It felt like we went to Vegas, put 1 million on red, they were like, yeah, and then it turned out to be green. And then you have that one person in your group who's like, you should have put it on green, and they're like, yeah, I should have. That's how it felt like to watch the end of that show. That's
actually so sad. Yeah. I actually think I've watched like a lot of really good TV this year. I've consumed so much media this year. Like from TV, I've watched I think 84 movies this year.
Oh shit!
Like I the last like week I started like recapping, like counting, like and rating everything that I read, which might be an interesting. I can show you the list at some point.
Yeah.
And then I also read so many books. And I just think this year I was blessed with like the gut feeling I went for some of them, like the recommendations I got, especially on books. Like I remember my favorite book and series ever, The 3-Body Problem. If you like sci-fi, it's incredible. Would highly recommend. Also, it's being converted into a Netflix show.
The 3-Body Problem.
Yes, absolutely fantastic book and series.
That's already an intriguing name.
Yeah. And also, like, so the author, it's a Chinese author, and and the beginning of it is set during the Cultural Revolution. It's very interesting.
Okay. What are the three bodies?
You'll have to find out.
Okay. There's not something that they reveal early?
No.
Okay.
It's sort of like in there. Like it's alluded to early.
So it's not like body, mind, and soul.
No.
Okay, it's more complicated.
It'll make a lot of sense when you realize what it's actually talking about.
Okay.
But yeah, it also it's like super well paced. The writing is excellent. Big recommend. But yeah, I've just consumed a lot of really good content this year.
Okay.
And I'm happy about it. Like I watched Game of Thrones for the first time this year.
Oh shit, okay.
Which I think people are too upset at the ending. But also I went in with very low expectations for the final season. So I was like, this isn't that bad.
Did you manage to get spoiled? Did you have any spoilers before you started watching?
No, the only spoiler I had for anything was I knew the Red Wedding was a thing that existed and everyone died. But in the show, they literally never mention it as the Red Wedding. So I just got nervous every time there was about to be a wedding. I'm like, this could be it, but I don't know if it's actually it yet.
That's cool. That's cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I made it through really easily. I predicted some things that ended up happening. So yeah.
Like what? I have to.
Like Arya killing the Night King.
Okay.
I thought was like they like hinted at that very easily. Everyone was like pissed that Daenerys got like evil at the end, but I'm like I kind of saw that coming.
Yeah.
So like everyone was like it happened too fast. I'm like sure, but also again I saw that coming, so to me it didn't happen too fast, I guess. So yeah, like I actually think that I was cringing at the most was them trying to like set up Jon and Daenerys. I was like, oh, this is so cringe. Why are they banging? So then I liked that didn't continue.
I didn't like that the worm dude, the dickless guys, that they didn't like want to kill Jon Snow. It's like, yeah, he's gonna go off to go party with wild women and go up to the north.
Oh, you mean the
Unsullied.
The crows. Yeah, okay.
The
Unsullied.
The worm, what's his name?
Oh yeah, the Grey Worm.
Grey Worm. Why? Like Grey Worm. Come on, he dedicated his whole life.
Sorry, the first person, because there's a lot of people that had their dicks cut off in that show.
Yeah, that's true. But it's
so
different.
Yeah, my first mind went to the
balls.
counselor guy.
Yeah, that's
that
balls.
That is true. But they don't really. It doesn't seem like they specify verbally.
I've read the books. No, I'm kidding. I haven't read the books, but it's like I've read this thread about all the dicks and balls of all the characters. No, but
it was weird that they kind of just let them off the hook.
Yeah, it's like that was the most annoying part for me.
Yeah. Also, oh my god, the funniest thing ever. I actually thought they were gonna do it because again, everyone's like, the ending's so bad when they're all at the end trying to figure out like what who's gonna rule and stuff. And fucking Samwell is like basically pitches a democracy, and then it's silent for a second. I'm like, oh my god, they're actually gonna do it. And then everyone started laughing, and I'm like, okay, that's actually kind of funny. That's kind of awesome. I got a kick out of that, but I actually thought that was how they were gonna address it.
Yeah, it was silly. Like the whole brand, it's like I will never lead. It's like I have to lead. That was also like, sure, they have the argument that he knew exactly what he needed to say and do in order for that instance of the future to play out. But it just seemed weird to me. It's like cheap that he's now the king.
That's fair. Although I think he said like he said he would never be like the ruler of Winterfell, right? So I don't know. Like there's like a lot of things that I'm like, okay, I think you can, like there are like some legitimate complaints, but like I was able to sort of like look past over some things or like not think too hard about it.
There was a lot of good juice in that show though. Really good juice.
Oh my god, it's season 6 is because the other thing is I wasn't really into it for the first season or two. Like I didn't really care too much for the characters. Like I didn't really start enjoying the show until Arya started popping the fuck off. Like off on her own. That's when I thought it really started getting good.
You mean like post the Hound, or
no? I
Hound?
mean like around that time,
okay,
like when basically like after Dad dies, and then everyone sort of goes their own ways.
Yeah.
I thought that was good. I also like I didn't care for Daenerys and her whole like arc. I thought it was just like, I don't know, like everything down in the South for like the first 4 seasons. I was like, I don't care. This doesn't feel relevant to us at all.
No, I can see that. I felt like that arc was quite like repetitive. It's like, I'm freeing these guys. It was like the same Where thing are happening my dragons? Over. And then some dude comes over and is a new soldier or something, and then they switch the actor, and then whatever, you know. No, I can see that for sure.
But season 6 from what from I think season 6 it starts with her walk of shame. Yeah, I think season 6 has the walk of shame. It has Battle of the Bastards, and it has the temple exploding at the end.
Oh shit. Yeah, that's like, a good season.
That was the like, and also like the cinematography behind like the Battle of the Bastards. Like, oh my god, that season, I ate that. I ate it up. I loved it so much. So yeah, it made it all worth it. And then I watched what's it called? House of the Dragon. I just finished that a few weeks ago.
Oh, I haven't actually watched it yet. Because I didn't know about my Gangplank site before. Like when I was in Sweden, I found out about it, and now I'm back. I need to watch the show together with Elena. This is
I would big recommend.
Yeah,
I won't spoil anything. But
no. Just, I have to stop you there.
No. So
I'm very sensitive. I'm very sensitive.
I know you're sensitive to spoilers. I'm talking about the tone of the show.
Oh shit! No. I'm sensitive. I'm very sensitive. I'm the most sensitive person when it comes to spoilers. Like if someone tells me their opinion,
no, it's okay.
I'm already like,
fair.
Fuck, because I want to go. Like I have isolated myself from.
Can I compare it to a different show in terms of how it is written and shot? Not like plot points. Okay. That's more what I'm saying.
Okay, that's fine.
Because I rated a 5 out of 5. I don't think it's written like Game of Thrones.
Spoiler.
To me, it's like, no, it's The Crown with dragons. It's so sick. So sick.
Bro, you were talking about how it's filmed, and now you told me about how it is.
The Crown.
Yeah, but now you told me about how it is. The story.
What do you mean? I didn't tell you anything about the story.
I'm sensitive, man.
That's nothing about the story.
Now I'm thinking about The Crown with dragons. That's a lot to take in.
Is it? I feel like that's fair game. Okay. I am also very sensitive to spoilers. I feel very bad now. I shouldn't have said anything.
No, it's okay. You get a freebie because I miss you, Ender. That's okay.
I miss you too.
That's okay.
You will fucking love this. You will love it.
I have to say one more thing though about Game of Thrones. Is that season 1, like I remember when I watched it for the first time, I was watching, like basically in Sweden we had this group of guys. We just got together, and back then the meta was 1 episode each week. It comes out Friday at 3 a.m. and so we would just get together, we would roll up some doobies, and we would enjoy ourselves because a friend of ours had an apartment on his own and he didn't give a shit whatever the fuck we did in there. It was crazy. It was fun times growing up. And we would watch Game of Thrones and we would think it's so fucking goofy. Because we would like look, like, you know, when like you would just pay attention to details that don't really matter, and we would just see like a soldier in the back that looks completely out of place. His helmet looks goofy as shit. It's made out of plastic or something, and you just notice that because the budgeting was all to make sure that Sean Bean is in that first season and he dies so they can advertise it. You know, that all of the budget, like you could see that the budget is clearly not there for Game of Thrones, and then they like leveled it up big time as the series went on. So I'm so happy that season 1 was such a big success because there were so many details that are so shit. Like you see the gear, they wear their helmets. Like some dudes, they like with their faces and shit, they look so completely out of place. It felt like one of those productions where like, oh, we need another dude in this set. It's like, okay, the camera dude, you just go in there, put that gear on, and it kind of fits. Okay, let's just shoot this and fucking move on. and that's it. That's definitely like the vibe.
Only one
that
take.
I remember.
No time. There's no time.
Yeah, pretty much. In terms of, I wanted to ask you this. since now there's been some time since you were in LEC. Is there some ideas that you had that were too crazy for the LEC to agree to, that you wish you could do?
I mean, the main one was the sitcom I wrote.
Oh yeah.
Which I mean, looking back on it now, like I actually don't think it would have been that good. Yeah, like I had some good scenes, but I think like the overall it was kind of a mess.
Okay.
But yeah, I think like I still really want to write like a show, and I've like written a couple of pilots since then that are like significantly better, still like nowhere near like what I want it to be. But like things that I'm like, oh, I'm not ashamed to show this to people. But
that's
but,
a
like,
good place to be.
No, but yeah, that's probably the main one. I had an idea for a fucking movie at one point, that like an LEC style movie that would just like, this would literally never happen. But the overarching concept was effectively, you know, the characters me and Dracos play, Drake and Dur, where it's like we're the armchair analysts. The idea was in various, because those characters are based off of Keanu Reeves in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, which is an amazing show, which is all about like time travel and stuff. So the idea was it's the two of us traveling through time, and you realize that we're the reason for like all of these events in League of Legends history happening, or we like mess up the timeline.
Okay.
So, you know, like we accidentally like trip Faker in the lobby in 2013. He breaks his wrist and RNG win worlds, you know, and then he becomes like a high school math teacher or something, you know, like, you know, like we accidentally like kidnap Caps away from Fnatic in 2018. So Fnatic never end up making worlds, you know, like something like this. And basically, like, we go through time messing everything up, then have to fix it at the end.
Okay.
That's like the general idea, which I think is hilarious, but it's also so stupid.
How would you make that good? Like that's...
I mean, so like in Bill and Ted's, like the idea is you have to do like so like the idea we had was, it's like we're going back in time to get like EU their first title. Like we want Europe to win worlds.
Okay.
So it's like everything, we're huge G2 fans, so like everything leading up to make sure G2 win worlds in 2019.
Okay.
But you go back to all the most important like times in League and like change one thing that has like butterfly ripple effects down the road. So yeah.
And the LEC said
general
no.
idea.
They said
no. I never like actually pitched it. This
shit.
was just like an idea I had, and I mentioned very loosely to Dracos, but that's like the most like insane thing I ever thought of, I think.
So nothing ever got declined. They were like, Ender, you have a free pass.
I mean, some things got declined. I'm like, I can't even remember them now. Because like usually it wouldn't be like, I wouldn't like write something and then show it to them and then it would get declined. Usually it would be like everyone would pitch ideas and then they would select one. So it wasn't really like ideas would get like super declined. I think I got pigeonholed into writing because basically our producers really liked 3 segments that I created. And I like basically got like roped into doing those a ton. So between 2 Iverns, LEC Update, and Drake and Dur got repeated a million times. And that sort of like limited what I could do outside of that. So like one of my favorite pieces was like the Star Wars piece that we did. And I really wanted to do another one that was original trilogy. Original trilogy for I think the playoffs after that, which I thought was fun, but that didn't get approved because I think there were some like legal concerns after the first one. But yeah, I think those are the Star Wars ones I really liked. I like doing like spoofs like that, which were always kind of like a gray area because I don't know. I thought spoofs were fair game for content, but apparently it's a little wishy-washy.
My issue is that I am not super creative, but when someone tells me something and they show me something, I can tell them how to make it better or tell them what sucks about it. That's the only contribution.
No, that's an important skill to have, though, for real, though.
I don't. It's like when it comes to creating new ideas, maybe League of Legends, but outside of that, it's like I am very uncreative. Very uncreative. You and Dracos definitely have that about you. that you guys get fucking crazy ideas?
I don't know. Like I have a really hard time getting like pen to paper. So like I can have an idea, but it takes me a long time before I actually like write it out. If I even get there. So like I'll have 1 million ideas. But at the same time, if someone were to tell me like parameters of like, this is the content piece you're writing, and like just told me kind of like what they want, then I think I can make that very good. But like when it's my own baby and I can go any direction I want, I think it's a little bit it's a little harder for me.
Okay.
To actually get going.
Okay. Who is the LSE?
It's one of the reasons why I'm so bad at like writing scripts, I think. Because like I'll be like halfway through something and it'll be like, oh, but if like multiple episodes down the line I wanted to do this, then I shouldn't do this here.
You're trying to Christopher Nolan it.
Yeah, it's not good.
How do they do that? Like, do you think they add it after the fact? Like let's say for example, Arrested Development. Like, how the fuck do they do their writing?
Well, so Arrested Development. First of all, you have a writer's room, which just makes life way easier.
Yeah.
But I think generally the way like sitcoms written in the past would be like you have like for a first season you would have like a pilot written, and then you would have a pitch, like when you pitch it to an exec, which would basically be like, this is the pilot, this is what the show is kind of about, and like for the first like season, this is kind of like the arc we're trying to do. Like this is where we're going to end up, and have like general ideas for like the episodes, and then like you would write out the episodes, sort of like week by week, I believe.
Okay.
But nowadays with writing, it's a little different because instead of like, there's not as much like writers' rooms, I think, and it's more like
AI. To
yeah, ChatGPT solves all your problems. Yeah, good idea. But I think it's a lot more of like one person is in charge of writing this script. Okay. So it's like there's 10 episodes in a Netflix special. You'll see each one is written by a different person. So those people will have like much more specific directions, I think, about like, these are the things that have to happen in your episode. Make sure they happen.
I would always
whereas like
assume,
Arrested Development,
like in The Office, I would always assume that the bad episodes are written by Toby.
Yeah, I like that. I do think like it's like The Office episodes, like you will have like individual people that write it too, but I think it'll be like writer's room comes up with an idea, individual writes it, then brings it back, and then they like edit and stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense. You gotta have people that tell you, yo, this idea is garbage.
Yeah, true.
I think that it's important to be surrounded by people that can tell you that what you're doing is garbage. I think that's very important. Life-saving advice right there.
That's a thing that's really hard to find too, especially when it's not your main. Like I sent like I've like showed scripts of mine to people, and like I always get like overwhelmingly positive feedback, and that's not me trying to like tap myself on the shoulder. That's me being like, damn, I wish people would tell me how it really is, you know? Like
how did I react when you showed me the script that I don't want to reveal? I don't remember how I reacted.
Wait, which script do you don't want to reveal?
Can I say?
I don't. Wait, message me. I actually don't remember. Now I'm curious. Oh yeah. That's public. Yeah, the Office
that's public?
episode is.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah. That's why I felt fine mentioning earlier, because I thought people knew what I was talking about.
Okay. No, because I don't remember how I reacted. Am I a friend that gasses you up, or am I a friend that is honest? I like to gas people up.
Yeah, no, you gassed me up.
I probably gassed you up. Yeah. I think.
But also, I think that script was kind of like that. That was like one, like, because looking back on it, I think it was actually terrible. So I think it was good for people to gas me up and not shit on it. Now, like with scripts that I write now, I'm like, okay, I actually think I'm like proficient enough that I really do need like critical feedback, you know?
Okay. So just send it to me if you want me to shit on you. Yeah. Like, please. I'd love to.
I'll work on a new one. I have okay. Well, I like actually like wrote a script like towards like earlier this year that's like fully complete, but it I'm not perfectly. I really like the base concept for it and a lot of like the scenes in it, but like it needs like major overhauls to make sense as a show, basically. So that's what I'm waiting on, the drive to go back and do that. Basically,
are you sticking strictly to comedy, or are you thinking beyond that?
Both, because like I think I'm good at writing comedy, but like the shows I love watching the most are like serious like dramas with like big story, like literally Game of Thrones. If you watch any anime, like Code Geass is one of my favorite shows of all time. Attack on Titan. So it's like a lot of these, like there's a lot of layers, and like everyone has their own like strategy because they want to be at the top or whatever.
Okay.
I really like those shows, so I'm always thinking about something like that, but those are such an undertaking that I don't think I could do that.
Okay. So the amount of content you consumed this year was with intention. It wasn't that you were bored.
Yeah.
Okay,
especially at the start of this year, because at the start of the year, like I actually went and I took some like acting classes. Like I was like really getting serious about that. Okay. Yeah, like I auditioned for a bunch of different things. Never actually got like quite a few callbacks, but never actually got anything. Like I auditioned for players.
Ruthless, no? Oh yeah,
players.
Yeah,
it's hard. But like as an actual, like not as like a caster on the show, but as like an actual player.
Okay.
I think I auditioned for top lane, whoever that was.
I haven't watched that.
Yeah, neither have I. So
I watched the other show they made about the
the dicks.
Yeah, the dicks on the car, was it?
Yeah.
I watched that show.
That's awesome.
That was a decent show.
I got to meet the creators of that. So fucking good.
Yeah.
So good.
I actually made an account on Backstage as you recommended to me, and I am slowly applying to things just to fucking build something. And
did you like did you like make a reel or anything like that?
Basically, I am finishing up my profile because basically the microphone I'm using now and the whole little studio equipment here that I've set up, it came very recently, so I'm going to update. Gotcha. And then I'm going to start like sending in. Cool. And the issue I have is like I don't know what accent I'm speaking in. It says please specify your accent, and I have no clue. What is my accent, Ender? What is my accent?
That's a great question.
I don't know my accent. I am a cocktail of accents.
Yeah.
I don't know what accent I have. It's a disaster.
International,
yeah. Then it says American General. And it's like, am I American General? I don't think I am American General.
No, because I'm like American General. Like American General is very much like Hollywood, California accent, I think.
Yeah, so I'm screwed. They need a category for me.
No, I disagree. At first I would just like, honestly, I think if you just put like international, like that would probably be fine, because like you don't have a specific accent, at least to my knowledge. Or just like leave it blank and they can listen and figure it out themselves.
Maybe that's the move. Yeah. I hope to voice act. I hope to, in some capacity, be allowed to call myself a voice actor vaguely. That would be like a side dream of mine, because now I'm taking some time off from coaching to rest up my neck and my back and to spend time with family, and now is the time to do all of these things that I have the ego to believe that I can do, and either fail at them and then put them aside, or do them well and have something extra in the back pocket.
Yeah.
That's
no, voice acting is cool.
Yeah. In terms of now bringing us back to League.
Yeah.
Just to make you say all the clickbaity shit, okay?
Yeah, let's do it.
Who wins LEC? The whole thing. Odoamne? So XL is winning. XL is winning. On. So there's three splits, and then there's the final. So you have Odoamne winning the final. How many splits is XL winning? Odoamne winning?
I mean, probably all of them.
All of them. Okay. So Odoamne wins split 1, split 2, split 3, split 4. Who gets MVP?
I mean, I'm just gonna go ahead and say more than likely Odoamne.
All right.
And that's the vote I feel most confident in out of all of those, because I can sway that vote with ease. I can rig that vote. Okay.
You just buy the journalists donuts, and that's it.
Just tweet Odoamne every week.
So that means with this circumstance, Odoamne qualifies to the World Championship. Who wins the World Championship?
I mean, it's got to be Odoamne.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Who wins the LCS, Ender?
You know what? Bwipo's coming back and Bwipo's winning LCS.
Oh shit! Okay.
Yeah.
They don't have the same split system, so they have 2 winners.
Oh, they do have 2. They do have 2. That's right. Yeah. I don't know who in spring. I actually don't know any of the LCS rosters.
So who's gonna perform on Thursday and Friday, and sometimes Wednesday?
Look, Doublelift and Bjergsen, the 2 NA goats.
Okay, the Doublelift and the Bjergsen. Okay, 100 Thieves. And then 100 Thieves will go to the finals against Odoamne.
Yes.
So in the case where XL sell Odoamne mid-split to a different team, that team becomes your vote, right? To win the whole split in summer.
Naturally, but they would never sell him.
That's true. But just in the case, right?
Maybe, if it were to happen, then yeah.
Maybe Drake and Durr switch up the timelines a bit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And Odoamne is being sold just to sabotage XL because for some reason that is going to affect the World's run in 2049.
True.
Right? Okay. So we have 100 Thieves, and then we have, of course, Odoamne.
Yeah,
nice.
Odoamne.
How about the LCK? Who's winning the LCK?
What's another top laner? Any European top laners in the LCK?
No.
I don't think so.
Zeus was a Greek god, so that's relatively European.
That's true. Yeah, but there's no Zeus in the LCK. There's only Zeus.
Oh no. Well, I'm talking the YamatoCannon accent, so I don't subscribe to American General Zeus.
Yeah. Fair play. I mean, T1's boring.
Yeah. But
probably T1. But also, I have no idea what the rosters are for LCK.
Lovely. But still, that makes us better. T1. Okay, and then let's go to LPL finally.
Oh no, I don't even know what teams are in the LPL. Don't they like add 3 teams every year or something insane?
Top Esports is a good bet.
Oh wait, they just picked up rookie, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah, Top Esports, yeah. That's the one roster move I actually know from the LPL.
Nice. JDG is also a good bet.
Yeah, but I've trusted JDG and been burned way too many times before, so I'm over it.
That makes sense, yeah. They just signed Knight and Ruler.
Yeah, I was gonna say they dropped Tooth. Oh, they got Ruler too. Holy.
Yeah. Crazy stuff, man.
Ooh, okay, that team is pretty fire.
Speaking of, I need to send you a video of this woman playing Cannon in D major.
Okay.
But it becomes jazzier and jazzier, and she places a ruler on the piano for it to make a very specific sound.
Okay.
And the best part about this video is how much she enjoys playing the piano. It's completely like she is having so much fun. You'll have to watch it.
Okay.
So you have to watch Afterlife.
Piano
Lady.
I'll check it out. And also that one show you told me to watch, Afterlife.
Afterlife. Yes. Ender, over here I am crossing into the AMs and I'm feeling my fatigue is hitting in. Is there anything that you feel we haven't covered that you want to share with me as your old friend?
No, I just feel like I need to get Billy over here for a little cameo. I'm gonna bring the cat. Okay, I'll be back in 1 second.
Cat? Okay.
Yeah, I think the cat is what we need.
An actual
we need to
cat.
Get the cat out of the bag and into
an
the
actual
stream.
cat.
An actual cat. Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on. Hi, Billy. Can I pick you up? Little Fluke, you want to come with me?
Getting born in the state of Mississippi. Papa was a copper and mama was a hippie.
Can I pick you up?
In Alabama.
I don't think she wants to come over here.
That's okay, Ender. I will pretend
She does not want to join the stream. It's so sad.
I will pretend to believe that you're actually cat sitting and you're not squatting in
I am, I promise.
apartments or house. Okay, Ender. This has been lovely. I am happy that I have gotten to know you even more, even though we're so far apart. And I hope that we see each other soon.
Yes, and you got to take me to that jazz bar.
Yes, we're going to the hat hour. And I'm going to send you up there to do some of the scooby dee boop boop boop. You're going to use the instrument that everyone has access to, your mouth, and then you're going to do jazzy sounds. I'm going to force you to. I'm going to put you in awkward situations.
Perfect. I'll do it. Just for you.
Fantastic. One final thing before we go in.
Yeah.
You need to ask a question to the next guest. You don't know who it is, but I want you to leave with a question.
Okay. Wait, did the last guest have a question for me?
Yes, but I forgot it. Because it was such a long time ago, the voice of Amar had a guest.
Right. Okay. Do you know who the next guest is, or is this general?
I don't know.
Okay. What is the square root of 69?
Perfect. We like it. I'm going to start off the next episode with what is the square root of 69?
Perfect.
I love it. Thank you very much, Ender, for your time. And once again, I really hope that I get to see you very soon. And meanwhile, take care of yourself and enjoy your time in California. And greet Billy and the owners of Billy. I wish them all the best. And that's it.
Yeah.
This
Enjoy your holidays.
Right? Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. You too. Yeah, happy holidays. I told you I forget about the schedule. I should say happy holidays, but I keep forgetting.
Happy New Year.
That's
2023. Oh God.
That is crazy. Come on, man. Don't put so profound things on my head now as we're wrapping up, and I'm gonna relax now and take it easy. Take a bath maybe, and I'm gonna be thinking about where did all the time go, like Archimedes, That's not good.
True.
But you have to send me the list that you mentioned of what you've watched and what you read. And and also you and band. I want to see Mr.
Oh yeah, I sent you a link.
You sent it to me? Lovely.
Yeah, West Ranch Marching Band.
Okay, I'll be watching this before I go to bed.
Yeah, you can watch it on stream if you want. I don't care.
Okay, maybe I will.
Yeah.
Well then, Ender. I'll catch you on the flippity flop, okay?
Yeah, on the flippity flop.
Bye bye. Good night.
Bye.
Okay. I'm checking for the question from Atlas. Shit, it was a question from Atlas. You're right. Well, that was fun. I have been on now talking for a solid 5 amount of hours. I could talk forever with Ender. For sure I could talk forever. I am just starting to get very tired and I want to give him my utmost attention. And yeah, that's it. Atlas's question was, what is the most important human invention in your everyday life? He's gonna say the phone, let's say. Ender says the phone. let's say that's what he says. Anyhow, thank you so much for watching, guys. If you didn't catch the full episode, it'll be uploaded on YouTube.